Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Very complicated situation in Niger, or Niger. I would say Niger, okay? Russia and Niger discuss military cooperation. Now, you know what happened in Niger a few months ago? It was that coup in which the weasel, I would say, president, why do I say weasel? Because he was on the payroll of the French and Americans, I guess, was ousted. Do I like that? No, but that's not for me to like or dislike. That is for people living in Niger to like it or dislike it. Therefore, when something happens in someone else's house and I would like to intervene, I can think the same way someone else can intervene in my house if they don't like what happens in my household. Do I agree with that? No, unless I think that everything in my household is fantastic, which obviously, like in any circumstance, things are not perfect. So what happened here? After the coup d'etat, if you remember, that French president was in house arrest, the junta, the military leadership who took power, kicked the French out, but left the Americans in. And right now, Russia and Niger discuss military cooperations in Kiev. No, in Moscow. So not yet, not in Kiev yet. So Sputnik, Russia and Niger discuss military cooperation. Very complicated situation. Very complicated situation, because that means Niger has someone to somehow to order the American bases to get the fuck out, and the Americans will not leave. Niger has some nuclear energy, or something that can be used for the French nuclear power plants. A working meeting was held between the Russian Deputy Minister of Defense, Colonel General Alexander Fomin, and Colonel General Yunusbek Yevkurov, and Niger's Defense Minister General Salifou Modi. During the talks, the countries highlighted the positive dynamics of the development of bilateral military and military technical cooperation and identified promising areas of cooperation. What can I say? Oh man, that happened when you eat some French beer. French beer, yeah. It's hard. Life is hard here in America, in the Americas. The countries noted the importance of developing Russia and Niger relations in the defense sphere and agreed to intensify joint actions to stabilize the situation in the region. The Russian Defense Ministry stressed its readiness to continue constructive dialogue with its partners in Niger to increase the combat readiness of the National Armed Forces of the Republic of Niger. Combat readiness against whom, I guess? Well, here we have Russian Deputy Defense Minister's visit to Niger to boost cooperation. That was in the 19th of December 2023. So I guess the Russians do to the Americans what the Americans did to Russians in Ukraine. So the Russians will come and train the Nigerian or the Niger's army in order to oust the Americans. And the Americans will say, what? You can't do that. Interesting, because if you remember, the new leadership in Niger said a few months ago that we will, what was the word they used? Maybe I can't find it, but we will bring democracy back in about 2 years. I guess they are thinking that in 2 years, the Russian military will be all set over there, ready. Well, what can you do? I'm 99% certain, that's the way I put it, that when the Americans decided to challenge and have the Russians do what they did in Ukraine, yes, by not providing the Russians with safety guarantees, with security guarantees, they said, no, what are you going to do, invade Ukraine? We've been waiting for this. We want you to do that. Our military industrial complex is dry. We need to give some money over there so they can produce some weapons for our buddies. So I think the Russians told them, I think little by little, I don't know if that happened in one day or, it was a process. And this is, I would summarize it for you. We will unleash hell. That is, all the cells and our connections around the world, we will activate and we will create problems for you all over the world. We kept everything down because we thought we're going to cooperate. But it seems like you really want to destroy us. Therefore, we're going to show you how really competition looks like. This is sometimes when, I don't know if you ever met someone who is in a competition with you, but you don't know he's in a competition with you. And then you realize that he tells you or she tells you, actually, I'm better than you. And you say, wait a minute, I didn't even train. You want me to train? No, I'm going to show you, meet you in, I don't know, in a week or two or whenever. And then after I train, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fuck you up if I really want. So I think that's exactly what Russia told the Americans. He said, do you think we can't screw you? And the Americans said, yeah, we really think you can't do shit. Because I think that's the arrogance of these guys. And the Russians said, okay, we're going to show you. And they activated in South America, then Central America, in Asia, in Africa. Remember the scramble for Africa about what, last year? Oh my God, it was wherever Blinken and Lavrov were going all around Africa and Asia. Remember? That's exactly what it was. Activation and promises. Hey guys, we're going to give you this. The Americans gave you that, we're going to give you this. Hey, the Russians gave you that, promised you that, we're going to give you this. That's how it was. It was like a bazaar. And I think now you see the consequences. The same thing happened right now it's a war. It's now I think the pedal was pushed down. Before, I think the Russians were not willing to really compete. Thinking, I would say, like naivete. They were thinking that the Americans are their partners or the Western countries. No, they're not. They're not. They will never be accepted in the club. You know why? Because they're too strong. Russia have a big potential in everything. It's 145 million people. That's bigger than any country in Europe. Double than any country in Europe. Germany has 82 million. Bring some immigrants from Africa and they're going to get 100 million. These guys are already 145 million. So they're big. Their country is bigger than the whole entire Europe. Resources, Europe squat, Russia full. So that means Russia, if Russia, let's say, would be admitted in the European Union, would not be admitted like a weasel, Romania, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Bulgaria, little fuckers, or the Baltic fuckers. Not like that. They're going to come over there and they will tell Germany, sit down. Great Britain, which is not in the European Union, shut the fuck up. We're going to come and smack you. Italy, hey, let's play some calcio, and so on. So they don't want to get the big boy over there who's going to push them around. They want to push everybody around, the smaller countries. And the United States now takes over Europe, so the Russians cannot get on the European market. That's why, for example, Russia is not in NATO. The Americans don't want competition. They want to be the only one. Everybody else are their vassal states. Russia did not accept to be a vassal state. Everybody else in Europe, everybody in Europe accepted that. Everybody. And I'm including Great Britain in Europe. But Great Britain thinks that, as I said many times, is just a house slave, not a plantation slave that cuts the sugar cane. No, it's not going over there like Romania and Germany and all those guys. They are plantation slaves. This guy is like a house servant. I'm a little bit above everybody, but I'm still a slave. So that's Great Britain. If Russia would come in, would not be either a plantation slave or a house servant, is going to be one of the plantation masters. What do you think? France wants that? Or France is already upset that Great Britain is in the house. So whenever the master receives some mail in the mailbox, France quickly goes and grabs it, comes to the house, enters the house, and thinks that I brought the mail, Great Britain, fuck you. And the Great Britain, hey, shoo, get out, pick up some sugar cane, fuck, and goes outside. It's so Germany is over there, and no problem, works. Anyway, here it is, my friends. The Russians will take over Niger. We knew this, right? And it's not Wagner group that you have never heard of anymore. I haven't been hearing about Wagner whatsoever. Where are they? Incorporated in the Russian army? Most likely. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.